everybody. I'm Melissa McFarland, founder of Creative Successful Entrepreneurs, and I'm here today with...
Hi, everybody. I'm Kylie Hodges. I am a team coach here at Creative Successful Entrepreneurs.
And we are both really glad to be here today in the Breakthrough to Six Figures virtual masterclass for creative entrepreneurs. It's nice to see all of you guys hopping on here. And we're going to have a chat running all throughout the presentation today, but we just know that we will not be answering all your questions really probably until the end. So just hang out and we'll be doing that as we go. And if you're watching this as a rerun, which maybe many of you, who knows, we know that lots of people do appreciate having the recording. So you won't be able to see the chat and all of that. So Kylie and I will do our best to pull out from whatever we're seeing as important things to say to you all who are joining us in a rerun. All right, so today we are here to help you do a whole bunch of things. If you're watching a rerun of this, you won't see the networking portion of this masterclass, but we highly encourage you to come back live because that's a really great feature. And for those of you who are here live with us, masterclass structure includes networking at the beginning. And we really like that. So we're hearing great feedback from folks who are joining this masterclass on a regular basis. And if you are hanging out with us, don't worry, we'll give you a way to join and come back to the masterclass on a regular basis at the end of the call today. Then we're going to dive into some targeted training. And folks, this is not a little bit of training. We've got a full-on training for you all today, how to break through to six figures and beyond in your creative business. So hang tight for that. It is a big chunky part of today's process. And then we're going to move into a spotlight. If we have time, we'll move into a spotlight, actually work with one or two of you on the content, diving into the 4 different arenas that we're going to be covering today. We'll give you a little time for Q&A and we'll close up with some great opportunities for you all and some gifts and goodies. If you're on in a recording slightly different, we're going to pull out the content that is not relevant to you waiting in the room and all of that. So when we move into breakouts or we're in a spotlight and it takes a little while, we probably won't include that in the room. We are covering today just 4 simple steps, 4 steps to 6 figures and beyond. And folks, we know that there are lots of reasons you may have started your business and you may have done that recently, or you may be like I was 12 years in to a business that really never was working very well until I learned these 4 things and turned my business around. And we want to give you all the chance to do that same, or if you're at the brand new starting gate, just considering starting a business, or you're in business, but you've been freelancing or something like that, this is a really good training for you. Some reasons we start businesses, really common. We want more flexibility. We want, have more money and have more freedom financially. We want to get beyond what the limits are that other people put on our finances and how they hire us or don't hire us. We want to be able to control the flow of income, right? Maybe we have like a skill that we want to monetize or something. Maybe we want to work for ourselves. That was a huge one for me. I wanted to be able to stay home with my kids and continue pursuing my creative endeavors. And I needed a job that I could basically be in my pajamas for, and I could run at all hours of the day and night and not always work all the time, right? And have time for those other things. So basically having control and choice is the reason why so many creatives start businesses. Time, what kind of work we do, who we actually end up having to work with, right? So those are all good reasons. But maybe Kylie, you can share some of the things that actually happen when we get going in a business.
Yeah, there's so many things that a lot of people don't expect when they go into business. And it's very common that we see, especially when people first come into our community here at Creative Successful Entrepreneurs. We hear a lot of similar complaints. Like, I started my business, but now I feel like I have less freedom. I no longer have a steady paycheck. I'm working on projects, but they're just not satisfying because I'm just taking the gig in order to make some money, or I'm working all the time. And the whole point of starting my business was so that I had some freedom, but now I'm constantly working. I don't even get to utilize that freedom that I have, which is very relatable. If anybody here is listening, I would love to see your hand raised if you can relate to any of this, because you're certainly not alone.
Yeah. And put it in chat too. It's great to hear from you. So look, we're asking a question for you all today as we dive into this training. We're about to really fly through in a, I would say, not fast way, but in a really intense and juicy way through these 4 tools that are so critical they're absolutely required for making 6 figures in a business. They're not difficult or let's say complicated, but they are things that people miss often or execute in the wrong order on. The question for you all today to determine whether you really want to stick, stay, and play today is this question: what if? And just really ask yourself this question: what if I could be paid more than I really think is possible for me, doing what I love and leveraging my talents and all of that? Like, ask yourself, what is the number that seems outrageous or out of your reach? And what if you could actually receive that number just by learning how to adjust how you're doing things in your business, right? That's what the training is all about today, is how to do that. So today we're going to show you how to turn your ideas and your talent into a six-figure income in a year, even if you've never started a business or you've never earned a lot, as a creative or an artist. So very, very important to know that you don't have to have already done this. Now, some of you may have gotten to your first six figures, your second six, and this is going to be a really good training for you to determine what might be standing in the way of getting up over that $1 million mark. So the formula that we're teaching you today, it actually really works. It's the same set of steps that we use here at Creative Successful Entrepreneurs that have allowed our clients to produce millions in collective sales. Honestly, our clients are routinely on track to that 5 and 6 figures in that first year. So 5 figures is like 9,000 a month, right? 6 figures, we're looking at 10,000 a month and beyond, right? So that is something, those are milestones we need to get to. And this formula will help you get to that first 6 figures or the next 6 figures in your business really reliably. And maybe more importantly for our clients, their lives have dramatically changed because of the way they run their businesses now. They're less exhausting, far more financially rewarding, but also more rewarding on that impact level. So, and they are loving that. They are creating an impact with their talent and their time and their energies. And we know that it can be wonderful to hear that, but you really need some proof. So we thought we'd include a couple of results from our clients here at CSE, just a set of clients. These are not the only ones, but let's roll through them. So Tish Hicks is a professional actor and a voiceover artist. She built a company called the Voiceover Dojo. It's an awesome company. Basically, she went to just under 6 figures in a year, and she's now at $500,000. And that was a huge turnaround from her when I met Tish, and we went through these 4 steps. She was at earning just about $1,000 a month. And we got her way over that 6-figure mark in that first year. Here's Hope. Hope is a #1 New York Times bestselling author and speaker. And there were a lot of results for Hope using these 4 techniques. But the thing I like is that just from her followers, her existing followers alone. So if you have a lot of followers somewhere or you have a big list, but you don't know how to net value from that list, she was able to increase her income by 80% from her followers alone. And she did also gain a $12K per month increase in her income in just 1 year per month. Here's Krista Walsh. We love Krista. She's a copywriter. She's fantastic, by the way. She experienced a 500% growth in her revenue in less than 6 months using these tools. And then Valerie Hubbard is a professional actor and CEO of the Actors Fast Track. She built a 7-figure international business from $0 in record time. And in the first couple of months went over 40,000. Marianne is one of our esteemed coaches here at Creative Successful Entrepreneurs. And she has a company called The Sheltering Tree. In just 1 year, utilizing these tools before she became a coach with us, she had a $90,000 increase in her revenue in a year. And then finally, Andreas Kramer is the owner of Conscious Profit. He had a 75% increase in his income within the first 4 months using these 4 techniques. And he had his first $20,000 day in 8 months. So look, they didn't need any complicated technology. They didn't have to have startup capital. They didn't have to have a single current client. Many of the folks we just talked about didn't even have one client when they got started from the process. And they didn't have to stop doing what they love and go do something they didn't love. They didn't have to have any prior business experience. In fact, all of them would say, I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to business. They were creatives, right? And they did it, all of them did it using this 4-part method. So look, if you are a creative and you are stuck in that trap of working too hard for too little, which I definitely was, I'll tell you all about that a little bit later. And you really want that reliable, repeatable income, secure and just controlled income, right? And you don't want to have to veer from using your talents. You're really in the right place today. So today's training is free. We want you to stick around at the end because we do have a few gifts that are valued at around $12,000 also for free for you at the end. Just lots of resources and tools that will help you get to the next level outside of this training. So definitely stay and play through the training. We know you need to know a little bit about who we are, but we don't want to bore you and waste a lot of time. Just suffice it to say, here's why you should listen to us. I have been coaching folks for over 30 years in business. I have Fortune 500 and Fortune 50 clients. I have had lots of TV time as a coach and have celebrity clients. I've been speaking on international stages as a coach. And I'm a creative too. So I really understand you really well. Kylie, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. My name is Kylie Hodges, like I said earlier, and I am a CSE certified business coach. I also have a very creative and colorful background. I've worked in PR as the spokesperson for a Fortune 500 brand. I've worked as a marketer for startups. I've been a television producer. I've worked in sales in the music industry, you name it. And I have found that all of the content that we're going to share with you today, no matter what kind of creative business you have, is wildly valuable and it works. And I'm so excited to share this with you and with Melissa.
Fantastic. So basically you're in the right place if you've got these 2 things going on, all those things we just talked about, and you want to make a lot more money as a creative with your talent, and you are usually more practiced at developing your talent than you are at building your business. So if you want to learn how to pivot a little bit and learn how to get your business going so you're not hand to mouth all the time, then you're in the right place. And if you're one of these sorts of folks, content creator, healer, designer, teacher, coach, director, producer, writer, artist, then you're in the right place. So let's dive right in. Essentially, you only need these 4 skills or skills in 4 different arenas. These arenas alone, if you've got skills in these arenas, you can scale to 6 figures, that over 100,000 a year, and to 7 figures online and in person. You can do it passively, actively, a little combination of both. You can get your time back. You can make a bigger impact in the world. So we're going to start with these 4 pillars of a successful business. Kylie, you do this really well. Why don't I just hand the reins over to you and we'll hang out and listen and learn about a restaurant.
Sure. So we like to talk about these 4 foundational pillars in terms of imagining a restaurant. So let's say that you are walking down the street and you see 2 restaurants. One is a burger joint and the other is an ice cream shop. And in that moment, you can see based on their signage, you can see based in the window what the vibe is if people are walking around or ordering at the counter or sitting down and talking to the waiter. And you can probably smell things, right? Like if this is a burger joint, I bet you smell the fries. I bet it smells delicious. Whereas at the ice cream shop, you just see people going up to a window, ordering and walking around. So that moment of having someone just minding their own business, walking down the street, and your business comes up to them and based on the signage and all of the other senses I just described, gets them to stop, pay attention, and come inside. So based on the smells and the signs and what we can see, if I were walking down the street and I did a gut check, I would realize, oh, I'm actually really hungry. I'm going to go into this burger joint because I know a burger joint is going to satiate my hunger better than just an ice cream cone. So that is what we like to call marketing. Get your ideal client to stop, pay attention, and come inside. Next, now that I'm in the restaurant, I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to decide what I want to eat. And that over here at CSE, we say you want to capture the cash before they eat. So that's a sales moment. That is me as the ideal client making a decision about what I want and committing to it in the form of a sales conversation. But what did I commit to? Well, this is a moment of what is on that menu, right? So at this burger joint, the menu is absolutely going to have burgers, fries, drinks, you name it, but it's probably also going to be delivered in a way that there's a combo meal or some sort of package so I can get all of those things together to make it a full meal because I'm really hungry and I always want fries with my burger. And of course, I'm going to need something to drink. So that over here at CSC, we like to say you should feed them well without starving yourself. And that's packaging and pricing. So not only is that put together in a way that meets all of my needs, but it's also priced in a way that meets the business owner's needs as well and pays them what they need to deliver on it. So that's packaging and pricing. And the 4th pillar of a successful business is if we were to peek into a restaurant and check out the kitchen, you would expect to see all of the workers in proper uniform, hair protection, washed hands, the food is stored properly, cleaning is up to date. We like to say you got to keep your kitchen clean. So in terms of your business, and it's okay if you're not a restaurant, but how are you keeping your kitchen clean? How are you managing your business? Is there a way for your clients to easily get on your calendar? Do you have a system set up so that you can capture that cash? How are you getting paid? How are you organizing all of your contacts and so that you're properly marketing? That's what it looks like with behind the scenes business management. So those are the 4 pillars of a successful business. Here are some examples of different tasks or things that would fit under each of those 4 pillars. So as you can see under marketing, a marketing moment looks like having an online presence, knowing your customer, attracting more clients. Under the sales pillar, that looks like, are you networking? Are you making sales calls? Are you explaining your services confidently? Packaging and pricing looks like designing profit into your products and programs. So remember when I said earlier, you want to feed them well so you don't starve? That's what that looks like in packaging and pricing, designing profit into your products and programs. And then finally, in business management, what does that look like? Well, investing wisely, using technology effectively, prioritizing your time, having a strategy in your business. So this is definitely not an exhaustive list, but these are just a few examples of the tasks or things that have to happen in a business and which of the 4 pillars that we're talking about today, those things would fit under.
I love that download. Thank you so much, Kylie, for running us through that. And just want to call out here at this point that for creatives, a lot of the time, what you're very good at is delivering the service, right? You're really good at finally delivering. And just notice that all of these other things are how we get free from over delivering, how we actually stop exhausting ourselves. And if you think about it, like, why don't you have time for marketing? Why don't you have time to really get a high ticket sale? Why are you always reducing your price tag or selling to anybody and working with anyone, even though you don't really want to work with that kind of person or do that kind of project? Why are you, just giving them work and over delivering in the work that you're doing. You're doing that because all of these things you have not had time perhaps to stop and settle down and figure out how to build your business so that it includes these things. But here's the cool thing: once you do that, you can stop over delivering and getting underpaid or being underpaid. So that is one of the big goals and values of learning all of these 4 pillars. And there are 2 additional, let's say, buns on the outside of that sandwich, or 2 additional pillars to support the house of a business. One is the mindset that you have about business and understanding what business is and who you are in business. Creatives tend to think of themselves differently than other business owners do. And it really means they often don't earn quite as well as a standard business owner might. So it's important to learn the foundations of business and what drives profit and that sort of thing. We're going to talk about that a tiny bit today. And then on the other end of that are leadership traits. So that's the character set, the values, the behaviors. Mindset comes along in there as well. So we have that: how do we look at business and how do we think of ourselves? And on the other end, how do we behave? How do we act? What kinds of disciplines and habits and character set do we have? Because those things are going to hugely impact our business success. And I will say that creatives are incredible, and they're also often unboundaried and don't have a lot of those sort of character traits in place that that help them in their business. So they have to work on those a little. They're fabulous, incredible, artistic people, and oftentimes, and remember, I should say we, because I definitely was like this. I had to harness myself in ways that I never had to, and in fact, I shouldn't have in a creative life. I had to harness myself in different ways for a business life. So let's go ahead and dive into pillar number 1. We're just going to move through each of the pillars in a little bit more depth so you all can take a look and get some traction yourselves. So in marketing, that's pillar number 1, get them to stop and come inside, right? There's just 2 kinds of marketing we focus on here: short form marketing and long form marketing. And they all go together in a cool little visual we call the marketing clover. So we have 4 little pieces. The first one, short form marketing, is a business name, a tagline, and an ankle show. This could also be a product name. There's lots of naming that happens in a business, folks. Tons of naming. We have to name products and services and processes and systems and all that stuff. So you got to really know how to do that, naming things. So we've got over here 4 different things in marketing. And here's the cool thing: it does all that heavy lifting for you. When you get the marketing right in your business, you can get people to stop just by how you talk or how you speak, what your signage says, as Kylie said, or how what the words are you choose to put in front of their eyeballs first, etc. All of those things are going to help you stop that person and have them come inside. It's going to do all that heavy lifting. So you don't have to wave your arms around. You don't have to wear a sandwich board. You don't have to rent one of those things that goes like this all the time. You can just pick the right languaging and understand how to do that. So ask yourself, when you're picking a target and when you're learning your target so that you can speak to your target really well with that marketing clover and do it right, we have to pick a target. And so when we're doing that, we are going to want to do that by asking or living into a couple of questions. Who do you want to help? Right? Because we can't stop people and come inside if we're trying to stop everyone. So we want to just stop a few. And then what problem do you want to solve? That's a different question. You can get them to come inside with either answer, right? Here's a problem you have, or here's a type of person that you are. Either way, those folks need to be, as long as you can speak clearly to those things, who they are or the problem that they have. And oftentimes, of course, those 2 things go together. Here's a problem I have, or here's a group of people, what problem do they have? And also, you want to know how to language that, we call it a pain gain gap, in your marketing. It's going to be very important to do that in your marketing clover. So that's marketing.
And Melissa,
yeah.
I want to just point out here that for those of you listening, some of you might be like, yeah, I already have these things. But these questions here on this slide are wildly important because you might have a business name, you might have a tagline or a short elevator pitch, but are they speaking effectively and clearly to that ideal client, that person you want to help? Do they clearly call out the problem you want to solve? And are they phrased in a way that is activating those people to pay attention and metaphorically, figuratively come inside your business? So even if you have these things, this is a really good moment to stop and ask and do a quick evaluation of is my marketing working for me in the ways stated here?
I'll give you a good example of that. Thank you for stopping us, Kylie. That was good. So I'll give you an example. When I first got going in that first 12 years of my business, when I wasn't cultivating the income I wanted and all of that, I had a business called Electric Kites. And we did a lot of the same kind of training that we do now here at CSE, but people didn't get that we did that. So we had a company called Electric Kites. And then underneath that, our little tagline, which we added later, was success coaching. Very broad, very esoteric, and it didn't stop people and have them come inside, except to be like, oh, what is that? Curiosity, but it didn't help them really identify whether they were the right target to come inside, whether they should walk actually inside. So they would stop and they would scratch their head, but then they would walk on by. the first thing I did when I started learning the techniques we're teaching you all today and the tools and the principles really, was I changed our business name. And the business name we have now is Boring, Creative Successful Entrepreneurs. But guess what? It stops the right people and they come right inside. And when we add our tagline, we help creatives start and grow successful businesses they love. It nails it for us. So if I stand up at a conference or in a bathroom line and I say, oh, I have a company called Creative Successful Entrepreneurs, we basically help right brain thinkers make a left brain living. We help creatives start and grow successful businesses that they love. People are like, wait, I need to talk to you, or my daughter needs to talk to you, or my friend needs to talk to you, like right away. So that's a really good example of the difference between the two. Do you have an Electric Kites esoteric name that you love? I love the name. I don't know why I did at this point. Now I don't, but I did. Or do you have a name that actually will stop people and come inside? And here's a little rule. If you are Pepsi-Cola, if you are something that, if you've proven yourself and you're out there and you're really well known, or you have a ton of capital to throw towards marketing, and you can use an esoteric name. But if you are, like most of our creatives, a solopreneur, a small business, micro business, you will not be able to get up over the first 6 figures. So if you are under your first 6 figures in business, or even the second 6 figures, basically under $500,000, we really encourage you to know and be using marketing that is going to be very clear and is going to very clearly call out your target so they can stop and come inside. So pillar number 2 is capture the cash before they eat. This is sales. Very important, very different from marketing. So capture the cash before they eat. And the good news is that all you really need to have to close a sale is a conversation. And that conversation can show up in a landing page or in a long set of emails or in a visual dialogue, or it can actually happen between 2 people. It can be a conversation that happens live or passively back and forth on text or in direct message or something like that. But you need to have that conversation. So the question here is, do you know the right conversation that you should have in order to convert a high ticket sale? And that's really important, high ticket sale. So we're looking for, and why? Because if we can start, in order to get up over 6 figures, we don't have a lot of capital usually to throw at our business. So we need to do it nimbly. And if we can make a high ticket sale, it settles things down for a little while. Just think about it. You can sell 100 at $100, right? Or you can sell 10 at $1,000. And I'm not sure if I did the math right there, but the math is the same. Is it easier to sell 10 things or 100 things, right? So we want to, if we're trying to get up over 100,000, we want to be selling something to a few people at a higher price. And so we really need to know how to have that conversation. It's very important. So some people ask me, but do we really, like, what about if the price is low, if it's $197, the thing I'm selling, or $29 cool thing, do I really need to have a conversation? And the answer is yes. And the reason why is because, and again, our goal is to get up over 6 figures and to do it in a calm way with high numbers and a few people. All right, great. But even if you're selling, a $10 item to 100,000 people, or a $1 item to 100,000 people, even if you can get that many eyeballs looking at your $1 offer, change is scary. It's hard for us to put money down, even if it's just $10, but especially if it's $1,000 or $10,000, right? So change is going to be scary. It's hard to part with the status quo. It's going to be scary, and investing your time, your belief, and your money, any of those things, is going to be hugely uncomfortable. So people need a conversation. So there are 2 things we're driving in a conversation. The sales conversation. And if we don't drive these 2 things into the conversation or with the conversation, we will not make that significant high dollar sale. We might make a low sale and we might be able to discount our offer and get people to buy right now, but then we've discounted our offer and we have to work really hard for less money. So we need to drive 2 things. One is awareness that they have a hunger that needs to be fed, or a pain and a desired gain, and there's a big gap. Right, so we have to drive awareness about the problem. Otherwise, if people perceive that there's a little problem and it's not that hard to fix, they don't need to spend a lot of money and they won't buy anything. So if you want to make that significant sale and stabilize your business and get going, we need to drive awareness of what we call the pain gain gap. Right, so if you're not driving that, then we're in trouble. Also, we need to drive ownership. So I might know I have a problem, but I might be blaming somebody else. And we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that you are not in the position of rescuing your prospects when they become clients. Instead, that you are someone who's going to give them the tennis shoe that you make, and they're going to go running, and they're going to watch how they use their legs, and they're going to make sure they take care of those shoes, and they're going to own that their running capability is their job. You're just giving them, they're buying a shoe that is a better shoe. So you need to drive both of these things in order to make a significant sale. And the way we do it is with the sales cycle. And this is a $100,000 visual right here. I'm telling you that because I just had a client convert $42,000 in one sale. She said normally she would have probably sold the thing that she was selling. She would have been able to cultivate around $3,000 worth of services. And she was able to convert. Yes, Kylie, this just happened.
Wow.
Yeah, it's to Doris actually. So,
Wow.
yeah, very exciting. And I see our chat is blowing up with fun about that. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
And she's
that's
helping.
awesome.
I mean, you saw the great results and the great results that happen. She was able to do that because she used the sales cycle. And she keeps saying, all I do is go back to that thing. I just go back to that thing and I work through it. So let's go through it ourselves. She's definitely converted in less than 6 months, $100,000 already using pretty much a sales cycle. And she does not know what she's doing and she's uncomfortable in it, but she knows what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to
Yeah.
drive awareness and ownership. And she knows she wants that significant sales. So she uses that sales cycle.
Yeah. So to just briefly cover this, because this is a really, Melissa is not exaggerating. This is the most valuable, probably slide you'll see on this presentation here. But also, even I've been in business for years. I still have this thing taped right behind my computer. I reference it every time I have a sales call. So to just briefly go over this thing that is, there's a lot to it. What I want to point out is that there's 4 phases here, and they're all designed to do exactly what Melissa was talking about. The first 2 phases are all about driving awareness, helping the person that you're engaging with wake up to if their problem is the problem that you can solve. And then it goes into phases 3 and 4 are all about taking ownership. Do they want to even solve that problem? And are they willing to become the person, do what it takes to solve it hand in hand with you or your business or your product? It ends with them making a commitment to change in the form of either working with you or not. But most likely, if they've made it this far, it looks like working with you. And the thing that I love about this, Melissa, is that this sales cycle takes all of the pressure off of convincing or pushing. A lot of creatives, I was one for sure, had this belief that sales was rude or wrong or like tricking people. And this is the opposite of that. This whole sales cycle is actually, you're not even talking about yourself. It's all about getting to know the person you're engaging with and helping them become more aware of who they are, what they want, where they currently are, where they'd rather be. And when they are at a place where they make a decision to do something about where they want to be, then the conversation turns to, okay, well, can you help me with that? So it's a really freeing and very beautiful process. I love the sales cycle and I love talking about it because I know how incredibly valuable and impactful it is for people.
It's so true. It really is. And so the sales cycle moves through those 4 phases, and they are really just phases that involve questioning and some clarifying for folks. So what do you want? Why do you want it? Why do you think you haven't gotten it? If you did get it, what else would be possible? If you don't get it, what's going to be the cost, right? That's phase 2. And then, well, are you willing to do what it takes? If you did get the tools and everything, do you think you'd be able to change? And are you willing to do the work? And do you think you'll need help? That's phase 3. And then phase 4 is all of those questions. What do you need to, do you have any questions? Yeah. How can I work with you? Well, let's talk about that. Here's the ways you can work with me. What do you want to do? How does that sound? I'm in. Great. Let's make it happen. So that's how wonderful and easy that sales conversation can be. And it is a service conversation. You're doing folks a service when you're having this conversation. And people, as Kylie said, people will really thank you all the time for the depth of the conversation that you're having. You don't want to be in a sell pathway. This is a no sell pathway. Basically, there's nothing to sell until they've realized that they have a pain gain gap. And when they realize that, their ownership, if they own the problem, they're ready to buy. So you don't really have to sell. You just have to help the decision-making process move along. You are going to get objections if you've priced your things correctly. People object. Why? Because your price isn't right? No, not because your price isn't right. They object because they're not sure if they can do things. They object because change is scary and investment is uncomfortable, even if it's the right thing and they know they want it. So, and just think about yourself. It would be true for you as well, right? It isn't only money that has you pause. It's also, now I'll need to commit the time, or now I've got the great running shoes and I pay the money for the running shoes and now I have to go run and I hate running, or I'm afraid I can't do it. So there's a lot more in there. And so we really want you not to take that price personally and to expect objections and to learn how to work with them. That's beyond the scope of this training, but it is something we do at CSE all the time in our follow-on training. And then offers, when they match the client's need or their hunger, they will definitely sell themselves, and you just move through that conversation. So we are at pillar number 3, feed them without starving in the process, packaging and pricing. This is my favorite way to add $100,000 to your bottom line. It is so efficient and effective. It is one of the ways I was able to convert dramatically, and we'll show you how in just a minute. So we call this packaging and pricing, and it's all about feeding your client really well, but not starving in the process. So we don't want to be feeding our clients our very best and most laborious service, the very special caviar with the, beautiful glossy glaze. when they're going to shove it under the lettuce. If it doesn't matter to them at all, we need the right thing for the right client in the right amount. And that can be a bit of a science project to figure out. When I made this change alone of packaging and pricing correctly, I went from 24,000 from a particular stream of income in my business to making $181,932 in just 1 year, just by making a packaging and pricing change. So it's a huge way to change things. Kylie, why don't you help us out with the concept of packaging?
Yeah. So like it says here, all successful businesses package their products and services in a way that maximizes profit. So we need to start thinking about how are we leveraging what we're selling in a way that is giving us the most possible profit so that we're not starving ourselves. So we like to look at that, again, going back to the restaurant, we use the analogy of like a combo meal, right? If you're going to a restaurant and you're like, I really want a burger, it's probably common for people to also want fries and a drink. So you could sell those a la carte, but also if you're already making them and it doesn't cost you anything extra, in fact, it probably saves you time and money to sell them all together, then you can price them in a competitive way that actually maximizes on profit, leverages what you have to sell in a way that gives your customer everything that they want and need, and saves you time and energy and money in the process. So on the next slide, Melissa has a very lovely diagram here of all of the different ways you can serve people and make a big difference in earning more and working a lot less. And what I want to point out here is that the big triangle here, the 3 yellow triangles, are the components needed in every single package that we sell. Now, your business probably won't be a perfectly even triangle like this one. It might be heavy on the service, especially for those of you service providers like coaches, healers, maybe some types of artists. But you still, in order to maximize on profit, like we've been talking about, we need to also weave in components of having product and education and information as well. And in that middle triangle in the gray are 3 different ways that you can deliver it. So active, leveraged, and passive. And what we mean by that is if you're somebody who hasn't broken into 6 figures yet, you've heard Melissa talk about on this training, hitting 6 figures with a high ticket offer. That's exactly what we want you to think about here. So we want to point out active is the very top of this stack of offers or products that you're selling. You want to start at the top, which can sound counterintuitive to people, especially early on in their business. They think, oh, I should sell the low price thing first, get a lot of customers and clients, and then go bigger and deeper. But it's actually the opposite. If you can sell the highest ticket offer possible, you're leveraging all of the different ways that you can serve people in a way that gets you to be earning and stabilizing yourself faster. And you're going to have happy, satisfied clients that you can have for potentially years to come if you leverage and package your offers properly.
Fantastic, Kylie. Thank you so much. So yeah, Kylie is right. In order to this right here is another whatever $10,000 image to remember. You need all of the things on the outside, and we need to think about how we deliver things. We don't want to just deliver things one-on-one, for example. So we want to get out of that trap of charging hourly and doing that high-level active only. We do want active included in an expensive package. Let's say not only is this the best shoe you can buy, but we also will fit it for you. We will relace it for you whenever your laces break. We'll do all kinds of high-end active special, high-end things for you. But we're not only going to do those things. So we're also going to give you some education about how to use the shoe and run in it with some videos that we don't even have to be there for while you're watching. So we can't charge hourly. We can't be pricing our packages and services or products and services unless we package them. And we don't want to be charging by the hour. We want to be charging by the collected items in there. So take a look and see what you're currently offering. Does your offer include, or is it only a flat hourly rate that you're working on right now? And some of you might be like, no, I've got packages. I have, 16 hours that you can buy at once, but we're still charging hourly then. We want to build that business or that package to include those other things, a product, a service, et cetera. It can be a little hard to figure out what those could be. That's one of the things our coaches spend a lot of time with our clients on, is figuring out what is the right set of things. So which services, which products, which information and education. We don't allow them not to have something in those arenas because it really helps them relax and stop working so hard, right? So take a look and see how many of these you have no options for folks other than one-on-one. Do you charge a flat hourly rate or a monthly rate, for example, same thing? Do you not have any complementary products or services that are added into your package? Do you have no way to upsell them, as in once they're done with one, they're ready to move on to the next? These are all things to consider. And finally, we just thought it'd be helpful to list out here some basic bare minimum rules for smart packaging and smart pricing. So when you're packaging smartly, we want to remember these things. Give them what they need to accomplish their goals, your clients' goals, and sometimes know that means you might have to give them a little more than you were giving them. But also make sure that you're leveraging your time with group and virtual ways to, leverage ways that people can get your services and products. So it isn't just you showing up all the time to deliver those things. You want to be working in a span of time, say 3 months, 6 months, a year, something like that. Locking someone into, even in a corporate contract, for example, let's say we have a product and they buy it once for their whatever copy machine, right? Toner for their copy machine, something boring like that, which is not a creative business, but whatever. We'll use that example. Or let's say perfume. I have a client who is a perfume and she mixes different scents and she lets people do their own scent and all that. And then she sells that scent to them. And we figured out that if we also packaged in a renewal scenario where we would just send once, on the cadence of how often do you use it? How often should we just renew it? We'll just put in, when you allow yourself to be supported with an annual mixing. So you get to come in and mix 2 different other things within a year. You get to have refills of this particular thing. So you're never running out, and you get to bring your friends for a party. So we put all that together. It got her a lot more clients from the friends. It allowed her to get more from that package. So instead of just selling that one-off perfume bottle, that was worked out. So to just look at that sort of span of time and virtual and group components and not hourly. We want to add value, but we don't want it to be always on our shoulders to add the value. So we can work with partners to do that. And the partners can add value into our programs and also benefit when they do that, or into our packages. And then finally, we do want to remember to have that product, service, and information or education all in that triangle of our business. So that's smart packaging right here. And to smartly price, you need to remember 2 things. How much do they need in order to do you need in order to deliver the product really, really, like really well? So you can stop, take time out, really live with them instead of being rushed to get onto the next client because you won't make enough money if you don't, right? So how much do you really need in order to deliver the services and products to the client? And then how much do they need to pay so that they show up and they use the thing? If it's $10, we'll buy it and we might put it in a closet, right? Here's some questions to ask yourself as we leave the arena of pricing and packaging and move into the 4th pillar of a successful business. So does your offer attract a right fit client, the right person stopping and coming inside? Does it serve them not just once, but at every stage of their needs so we can live with that client for years and years, right? Does it build in that long-term relationship that guarantees repeat business from them and repeat referrals from them? Does it leverage you really well so you're not exhausted and your time and your talent and your capability are really well paid for? That's very important. And then does it pay you well? And does it pay you consistently? And does it pay you over and over, right? Reliably. So that's packaging and pricing. Let's move on to the final pillar. This is behind the scenes management. And it's one of the ones that we all feel is a little boring, right, as creatives, but it's so important. So we're just going to gloss over the most important things to keep in mind. And you can do a little check with yourself and see, all right, where do I have all of that going? And if not, what's it going to take to do it? So Kylie, why don't we take it away here on how to find support in the back end to have a really well-running kitchen? What is it that we need?
Yeah. So this is just an example. You'll probably need more things or different things based on your business, but we have found that when we have systems and structure, our kitchen is clean. So that looks like, do you have a system to organize all of your contacts? That also gives you a big heads up in your marketing. Are your contacts organized? Do you have a way to contact specific types of contacts based on what you're selling or how you're nurturing? And do you have a way for them to pay you? It sounds so silly and so obvious, but really, like, how are you capturing the cash? And do you have a way to track? Do you know how much money is coming in from your business every month? Do you know how much money you need to have come in every month? This sounds really, like, even saying it feels so boring, but it's so important. Do you have a way to track clients as they come in your door, from when you've onboarded them to working with them, doing check-ins, to even nurturing them throughout the experience working with you? All of these different ways of organizing and automating to an extent and getting structured behind your business is wildly important in making sure that the other 3 pillars we've talked about can even happen and succeed.
It's so important. A good way to think about this, folks, is just take a look and see if you're like I was. I was so busy delivering services. And remember, I had a full roster of clientele and I had high-level clientele. I was on television. I was on international stages. I was busy. I just wasn't earning what I really needed to earn. And because I was too busy delivering, I didn't know how to package and price. I didn't know how to sell at a high ticket. All these things we've talked about, I didn't know how to do. And our clients have not known how to do. Because of that, I didn't have enough time to actually collect the money. So how many of you all have money that's out there that is owed to you that you have not gone back and collected? And then, or like extra hours that you've delivered that you should be getting paid for. And I'm not talking hundreds of dollars. I'm talking thousands of dollars, right? I had thousands and thousands of dollars worth of time and energy that I was just giving the client extra. And they would say, look, we want to pay you. And I would say, great, don't worry. And I would never get them an invoice. I just would not have the time to get them the invoice, or I would know the money, but not really. And then it was later, and then they couldn't remember if I'd really showed up or not. And then, it's like, oh my goodness, just that alone. Or how many on the front end? How many of you have leads that are sitting there that are interested in working with you, that have told you that they really want to talk with you, they have a project or something, they need your service or product, and you have not been able to get back to them? So this is a really good example of things that fall through the cracks when we don't have good behind the scenes management, and systems will help with that, and structures will help with that. So in our programs, one of the things we do whenever anyone buys a product with us, we connect them with our partner to create their first funnel. So as we put them, say, we have a program that moves folks into the first $10,000 in a new offer, right? And helps them get that traction with the first 10,000 and beyond, right? And we also help them in that offer to build the funnel and to have the software on the back end with no extra money, to have that software built in so that the funnel is all built and those leads are coming in for that offer. Hugely helpful, right? So we really need to have that. So, and also we want you to pay attention to those things that we just listed, all of that list that Kylie said. It's very important to pay attention to that before this thing, before websites and logos and, courses and products built and launched online and things like that. We're trying to really launch anything online very well. We need the things we talked about today, the 4 pillars, and especially that behind the scenes management. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of spotlight coaching. We'll put you all in a breakout for spotlight coaching with Kylie and I, and then we'll come back to wrap up with a couple of gifts that we want to give you today, and some questions and some time for Q&A. So let's go ahead and break everyone out. We'll see you over into breakouts, and we'll do a little spotlight coaching to find out where are you stuck and all of that. We're going to be answering that question. Where are you stuck? What step are you stuck at? Marketing, sales, packaging and pricing, business management. I see people. Thank you very much, Joseph. Yeah. Okay. Is it Joe? Joss. Okay. So in chat, stuck at packaging and pricing. Great. That's a great place to get so much progress as we look. So we'll look in the spotlight, perhaps in the breakout for you at that. How can we repackage what you're doing right now? So let's go ahead and see each other over there, and then we'll come on back and we'll take some Q&A and finish up the training with the last really juicy bit of information. We don't want to forget this. So we won't take much time in this spotlight. We'll probably have time for one in each breakout room. So let's go do that now, Kylie. Okay, everyone, that was fun. Very fun to see that. I know Kylie's going to be joining us back in here in just a minute. I thought that was really fun. Fun to work on in my room. Kylie, we ended up working on actually the first part, identifying who the real target is with Sam. There. So Sam, we'll definitely talk in that. Like I said, we'll give you a little time on our calendar to help you map through the rest of that target. And so you can start talking to them better in your marketing. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
And did you have a good
And
room?
I just want, we had a great one. And I just want to call out, because we couldn't get to everybody, but I just want you to notice right now, like, even if you didn't get a moment for a spotlight session, identify for yourself, if we called you up right now, where would you feel the most urgent need to get support? Do you have all 4 components of the marketing clover? Do you have a sales process that drives awareness and decision making? Do you have pricing and packaging in a way that leverages your time and talent and pays you well? And do you have all the systems behind the scenes so that you can get paid well, so that you can run things smoothly and take care of your clients? So I want you to really apply, it can be really easy to just sit back and pay attention to the training and not apply it to yourself. And I want you to take this moment right now to ask yourself, where am I stuck? Or what am I avoiding that I know would really get me to that next level growth goal if I just put a little focus on it?
And, as we, our purpose today was to make sure to help you all understand not just what you need to be doing and in what order, but also help you to see what you might be doing that should not be the priority right now. So for many of you, certainly for me, I was prioritizing the wrong things, and I was doing some of the right things in the wrong order. Some things I shouldn't have done at all, ever, and other things I was doing were good to do, but not yet. And there were many things that I didn't have in place. And those things that we've curated for you, the 4 most important things and critical things, not nice to have, but must have for you to make money. And if you are not making over 6 figures or into your next 6 figures with a particular product or service, we want to go back to the drawing board and start with this thing, with these 4 arenas right now. So there you have it. We've given you the 4-step process. Super simple. We have target, first offer, right? The big offer, the right offer. And we want to then build a funnel with a magnet, engagement, and a sale as part of that funnel. And then, of course, we need to have the right conversation. And with these things, this process, 4 steps, you can scale to 6 and 7 figures online, you can do it in person. You don't have to be online at all to do it this way. You can be in a passive channel funnel, or you can do a more active funnel to create that. But right now, you might have some questions. You've got that 4-step process, and we know there are certain kinds of questions that folks usually have at this point. So how long will it take for me to create the 4 things, for example? Can I make 6 figures if I'm not a coach? Sometimes people wonder, do I need to be a coach like you? Or what if I just want to build a business with my creative talent, right? Absolutely, no problem. We do that all the time. Also helping coaches build their businesses. Either way, the model works. Maybe you have an idea to build your first offer, but you're knowing that that first offer isn't going to get you all the way in your financial goals. And so you're wondering what would be next after that. Look, we've got lots of questions here. Some of the ones I like, that I think oftentimes people don't even realize that they're wondering, but is what about my website? When should I start posting on social? And while some of those things are really helpful, I didn't have either of those 2 things, and neither do a lot of our clients really for the first year, 2 year, 3 years, until they get way up over 6 figures and multiple 6 figures. So right now you have 2 options where you are having finished this training. Option number 1 is to take the 4 things and begin to try and execute on your own. That's good. But option number 2 is a lot better and a lot easier. Let us help you. So my team and I can coach you to create those 6 and 7 figures and beyond. And the way we want to do this is to help you put the pieces together at our next big, large event. It's called Play Big. It is the #1 live virtual business bootcamp for creatives. Normally this is a $997 event, but today we have a webinar only price tag for you. And you guys are probably thinking, okay, what is the Play Big event? I just sat through a training. I'm not sure I want to do more training, but let me tell you, this is not your average training. So imagine this. This is our signature business coaching and training intensive. It has everything you need to know, including live group and individual coaching support in the room, 3 high content days. So you are supported to build out all those pieces, those 4 pieces and beyond, right there to those reliable and repeatable results that you're wanting. We know you need to get way up over 6 figures and beyond. The Play Big Live Virtual Bootcamp has a whole bunch of benefits. Let's go ahead and tick through them. The first thing is mindset training and a lot of good exercises, Q&A, and individual coaching, like I said, with all 4 pieces structured right there in the room. So that's number 1. Benefit number 2 is live Q&A sessions with me and with our experts that we invite into the room. My coaches also there to answer your specific questions. This is Krista Walsh. She is one of our clients who had a 500% increase in her business. 500 folks, 500% increase in her business after coming to Play Big. So it totally transformed her life. She said, I used to never plan for anything, feel like a different person. I've created packages that put me in the driver's seat. I streamlined, I nailed my sales call ability. This is all at the event, right? I started charging literally triple. I work with fewer clients, 100% more centered in my zone of genius. So benefit number 3 to the Play Big Live Virtual Bootcamp is private coaching. You've heard me talk about that before in the benefits. This is really worth pulling out because no other event has this kind of live coaching. We train our coaches so well here at CSE to understand how to dialogue with clients around anything that they're stuck around, and also to understand the key fundamentals in business. So they are supercharged trained, and they are working in the room one-on-one with you, not just in group, not just in lecture, but one-on-one. That is a huge benefit. Another benefit is that we have these work pomodoros, right? These breakout sessions where you get the work done in the room with our trained coaches. Here's Faith Rumor. She's an incredible business owner and actually voice coach. She says, what a great experience the workshop was, life-changing content. Our team is remarkable. She said, my buttons were pushed. I was cracked open. I'm fired up to share my new coaching program, Power to Thrive, which she's doing really well with. Right now, I know I can really make a difference in the lives of others. So Faith attended Play Big, and a lot changed in her business because of that. Number 5, benefit number 5, calm, organized worksheets and action steps. We're not just going to lecture at you. We're not just going to send you off into a room without any tools. We're going to put you in a room with some tools with to execute on the 4 things that you're trying to create. Emily came to Play Big a few years ago to get started. Brilliant, talented coaches, she says, tech staff and behind the scene angels. So sweet, amazing Play Big event, incredible to learn from and be led by such caring, committed, talented facilitators, chance to dream, structure, and hone my skills. Benefit number 6 of this event is the Ask the Masters and the Successful Coaches panels throughout the event. You get to actually see case studies of folks who have done what you want to do. Lots of different types of creatives building their businesses, coaches, trainers, teachers, healers, artists, performers, all types of content creators, all of that. So you'll get to see how last year's winners and beginners are winning now. So that's a really cool thing. And benefit number 7 is this safe community. You are going to love the feedback loop of encouragement and all of that happens in the room. Just come share with us those 3 days and watch everything change for the next 30 years. I'm not kidding you. We have clients that have been with us for nearly that long. Laura is a photographer who came to Play Big. She says she was looking for ways to leverage more income from her business without working harder, which if you do done for you services, that could be a big problem, right? Doing a lot of work for others and suddenly you're capped out on hours. And she said the event gave me incredible solutions to do that. Benefit number 8 is VIP lifetime access to the training and the worksheets that you get in the room if you are coming on board today. So just remember, a few years ago, I was at 25,000. I went right up using these skills to 181,000 in less than a year. And I've got lots of other benefits. In order for you to do the same, to get to that 6 or 7 figures, you're going to need support building the key things. You need that marketing clover. You need the no-sell sales cycle. You need a leveraged set of offers that are all working together. You need the right funnel to that right offer. You need right mindset so you don't get scared or you don't get distracted, which is actually a bigger problem for our creatives. They're pretty brave, but they get distracted, squirrel, right? You need an engaged and growing list, and we teach you how to do that in the room, and you need some tools and systems. That is why we created the Play Big Live Virtual Bootcamp, because we knew that you really needed to have all of that. Normally, the event is $997, and we have people pay that every year. However, it's a serious value. When people go to the website right now, and if you were to go to the website right now, you would find a price tag there for $197. And if you saw some earlier email from us, we had a very limited window of a $47 early bird rate. But today, because you are clearly serious watching this webinar, sticking and staying and playing this long, we want you to attend the Play Big Live Virtual Business Bootcamp, not for $997. We want you to attend it as our VIP guest, getting all those benefits for $10 today. That's right, just 10. So this is a today only because you watched this webinar. I want you in the room. You might be wondering, why the heck would you knock something down from $997 to $10? That's crazy, right? I get it. It's crazy, but look, I know what's going to happen for you in the room. And many of you will come into our room and will work and leave the room with so much better tools and with all those things beginning to be built out. And others of you will stay and stick and play with us in our programs for a while. And that is why we want you there, so that you can get the right amount of support no matter which way you go. And we want to be able to provide that for you. So that's why we're doing it. And also, when you win in the room, even if all I ever do is see you at Play Big and you win and you say something nice that day, we totally win when that happens. So we are really passionate about helping creatives and coaches and healers and trainers and teachers and content creators and performers and artists and all those to win. We want you to get your gifts in the world. We want to make it super easy for you to say yes to this offer. So let's review. It's super easy. Normally today online, it's $997 since that $47 rate is gone. But today only, not for $197, but for $10. That's right, $10 today. So please go ahead and join me at the live Play Big Virtual Bootcamp, me and all of our coaches here. Visit playbigevent.com and type in this promo code. Here you go, folks. You're going to want that promo code here. Here it is. It is CSE Friend. CSE Friend. Type in that promo code to get that $10 offer. Right on, folks. All righty. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you joined us today, and we will see you on the other side at Play Big.